Alright, so in this video, I want us to look at variables in JavaScript and how they work. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a folder, just name it variables. Okay. So we have a folder called variables, then inside that folder we'll create a file called index.js. Okay, so what are variables? Variables are basically values that you use to kind of store information or different data types in JavaScript. So there are different data types in JavaScript as well as other programming languages. So our focus mainly today is just JavaScript as a programming language. So the way we write the variables in JavaScript is different from other programming languages. So there are basically three ways in which you can declare and initiate a variable in JavaScript. Okay, so if you want to go back to the definition of a variable, sometimes I tend to look at it as a container that helps us store different values or data types or information basically. Yeah. So going back again to the different ways that you can declare or initiate a variable. So there are three. So there's one where you say let, then you give the name of the variable. So let's say, for example, the name is age, you can say age is equal to, let's say someone is 40 years. That's the way you declare a variable and be able to initiate it like that, right? So you can declare a variable like this. You can just say let age, right? Then later on you can now initiate it with a value, like you can give it a value, say okay, age 19, like that, right? But we are looking at the different ways of like declaring a variable. So this is one way where you just say, for example, let age be equal to 40, right? Then another way is instead of using the keyword let, we use the other one called var, right? It's called var from the word variable. But from this one, we have another one called const from the word constant. So it's a constant variable. So what are the differences between these three different ways, right? So with the first one, let's look at first const. So if you say const age, right? Or let's say const pi, right? We know that pi is a constant in mathematics, which is 3.142, something like that, right? So this is the constant pi. It never changes. So the moment we try to assign it a different variable, it will actually give us an error when we run it, right? So let's try to run our program. Okay. So let's just go back a bit and go inside the variables folder, right? So inside the variables folder, and there you can see we have index.js, right? So let's clear this and run our program. So when we do that, you notice that we are getting an error back, right? Saying type error, assignment to constant variable. So you cannot assign a value to a constant variable. So once you declare a constant like this, you can't change it. You can only use it. So for example, you can print out that variable, which is pi. Okay. So print it out. Let's run our program again. Then you get the value, right? So this is the first one. So this is how you can declare a variable with the word constant, right? Then the second one, so we have let, right? We have let, so it's a let age equal to 49, right? Like that. With this one, you can change the value. You can say maybe it's 20, you change the age to 20, right? So imagine you create a program that keeps track of someone's age, right? So it means because with age, every year the person's age increases by one. So you want this value to be changing, so you can't use a constant, right? So you can either use let or var. So look at the difference between let and var. So with let, you can actually assign it like that. Then when you print it out, okay, when you print age out, it won't give you an error. So because we've updated the age here, it will be able to print 20 instead of 49. When we run our program like that, you notice it's printing 20, this one and not this one, right? But if we remove this update, right, then we save, we go back, we print, okay, it will now print 49, which is the initial value for age, right? Then the same thing can happen with the variable. So with the variable, you can also do the same, it's the same thing. Okay, let's clear that. Yeah. Okay, see, it's printing the same thing. Okay, you can also assign it as well. You can update it, change it. Let's say 35. Then you run the program. Okay, still give it 35. Now, what's the difference between var and let? So there are times when you have a block of code, something is in a block of code like that in curly brackets, right? So when we use the word var, okay, I want you to notice something. So when we use the word var and we try to access it outside, okay, like that. Let's say age. Hmm? I want you guys to notice something. So when we run our program, okay, it's able to print the 20, which is inside this block of code, right? Here we are using var, right? So even if this was inside the block of code, it will still print. There it is, it will still print. But in the case where we use the word let can only be accessed within the block of code. So if I run the program, it will still print the 20. But if I remove this from the block of code, I just put it outside like this, you can even see it's the variable has kind of faded, right? So if I try to run the program, let's try to clear this. We try to run the program, you notice it's now giving us an error to say age is not defined because it can't find this variable. So these are the differences between let and var.